Welcome back, everyone, to the Week 7 edition of Fireside Football. I'm Kendall Capps.
And I'm Andrew Williams.
Well, Andrew, here we are. It's Week 7 of the NFL approaching us on Sunday. We're starting to figure out which teams are a real bit of separation. One of those teams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, going on the road to Miami, should be a pretty intriguing matchup. What do you think?
Well, actually, I really like Pittsburgh here. I like the way their defense is playing. Number one against the rush. Ben Roethlisberger coming back gives Hines Ward and Mike Wallace someone with 2 Super Bowl rings to throw the ball to. But at the same time, Miami came off an impressive win against Green Bay last week, albeit a little bit of a beat-up team. But really, they looked good against everyone but the Patriots and the Jets. And I think the Dolphins could come home and put a statement down that they're a playoff contender in the AFC.
I definitely like Miami to keep this a ball game. I like their passing attack has gotten better and better the last couple of weeks. They should be able to expose Pittsburgh a little bit in the secondary, but I don't think they're going to be able to score enough points. I think Pittsburgh, now with Big Ben back, he's had a week to acclimate himself again. Mike Wallace last season, the second half of the season, connected on so many 30-yard longer passes. My guess would probably be behind Deshaun Jackson for the most. I'll look it up. But they made a lot of connections. I think he's going to find that again, and I do like Pittsburgh on the road to get the win.
Well, see, what I worry about mainly is whether or not James Harrison will actually retire before the game. No. Don't think so? Well, how about moving over to a crucial playoff matchup in the NFC between the Washington Redskins and the Chicago Bears. Both teams coming off of losses last week. The Redskins played the Colts close. The Bears did not look so good against the Seahawks. What do you think happened?
You figure Washington, they're going to be motivated. They've won 2 of the last 3, had a tough loss like you spoke of last week. But they dropped a game behind the Giants and Philadelphia in that division. They don't want to shift falling back 2 games, but they're going on the road against Chicago, who has a great passing offense. Cutler, once again, he's getting a little bit healthier now. It's been a couple weeks, and from that giant attack that he faced, and I expect them to expose that 31st ranked pass defense of Washington. I mean, they're atrocious. They've been bent on break, but then they play teams that can finish through the air, like Indianapolis, and they find out they have problems. So I actually like Chicago at home there.
Well, see, actually, I like the way Washington's playing. And Chicago didn't look that great at home last week against Seattle. I think Washington coming over, they're 9th in passing. I think the Bears' defense is going to have trouble stopping McNabb. And I think the Redskins played really well. They played good teams close, albeit in high-scoring affairs. And I think Jay Cutler's going to turn the ball over too many times here. I think at home he hasn't looked great. In big games, he's made mistakes. I think the Redskins' defense forces some turnovers. I look for LeBron Landry to make a big impact. And I think the Redskins can steal one here in Chicago and stay near the top of that NFC East.
Well, if they do, that NFC North is just a toss-up of the teams. How about an interconference matchup between 2 really good teams? It's a very intriguing matchup. Philadelphia looking strong even with Kevin Kolb there as a starting quarterback. He's going to start again this weekend. Vic might be listed as a number 2. Going on the road to Tennessee, coming off a short week but looking really impressive on Monday.
Well, I like Philly. I like the way their offense looks, even with Kevin Kolb. They look great, but I think their defense, their rush defense specifically, has really been run through. They're giving up 115 yards a game, 22nd in the league. And here they're going into Tennessee to face Chris Johnson, who looks ridiculous. He's 2nd in the league in rushing. He ran through the Jacksonville Jaguars last week, albeit a little more in the 4th quarter when the game was locked up. But that's the thing with Tennessee is they can get a 10-point lead or a 7-point lead, and then you won't get the ball back, especially if you can't stop the run. So I think Tennessee can get a turnover, jump out early at home here, and then Chris Johnson can run the ball down the field. The Eagles are prone to giving up some big plays on the ground.
I agree that they're giving up some big plays. They're going to give up some points in this game. Tennessee is going to score some points. But I think Kevin Kolb is really going to make a name for himself in this game particularly. He is only going to add to the fuel of the fire that is this quarterback controversy that is going to happen in a couple weeks. When Vic is fully healthy, I expect Philadelphia to go out there, expose the secondary in Tennessee, which is really weak, including against, despite what they did to Jacksonville, there were other 4 games. They're still ranked 30th, I think, against pass in the league, or 26, somewhere. They don't look very good. And when you're that bad, you had a game like they did on Monday to help their stats. So they played some other teams that are able to get some passes downfield. And if there's one team that can do it, Philadelphia, Kevin Kolb, he gets the ball to Macklin. He's going to get it to Avant. Hope for him to have a big weekend this weekend. I actually like Philly going to a big victory here.
Well, how about moving from one quarterback controversy over to the quarterback who's his own controversy? Brett Favre going back to Green Bay to play the Packers again. Now, Brett Favre 7-0 against Don Capers' defenses during his whole tenure in the league. You think he can find a touch, start hitting Randy Moss, make this offense look impressive again against the Green Bay Packers, the dreaded Lambeau crowd?
It's going to be really difficult. You know, going into Lambeau, it's going to be tough. They're not going to be able to run the ball. I expect Green Bay to do a really good job of keeping the AP to 4 yards of carry. I don't expect them to break anything off too long in this game. It's almost a battle of two teams they should be so much better than they are. One underachieved early on and lost a receiver. Green Bay is on the other way. They're on the way down with the amount of injuries. They're going to have a hard time with this, but I think they pull it out at home. I think they need this game a little bit more than Minnesota does. Despite the records, I think Minnesota's only going to get better as the season, and I think Green Bay needs this game right now.
See, I'm going to take Minnesota here. I think Brett Favre he has his best moments in his biggest games. I don't think he's going to perform every week this year. I think they need him to do well enough to get them to the playoffs. And like you said, this Packers team is starting to play. Matthews are hoping to have back, but how will he play after a hamstring injury? And will Randy Moss be a little more in sync? Last game he had 3 days of practice for. Maybe this Vikings offense comes out of its stagnation against the Green Bay team that's really let a lot of teams hang in there and play with them. And that beat at home last week by a team that really didn't have half the game that Minnesota brings to town, rushing-wise, as Miami.
You know, it's going to be really difficult. How about another game over in the AFC? We have New England going on the road. They look really good. One of only 3 teams in the league with 1 loss so far. Despite a relatively difficult schedule, they only lost to the Jets. They played pretty well. They looked good last week offensively. I mean, do you see a shootout here? What do you think?
Well, I like San Diego. Their offense looks good, but without Malcolm Floyd, without Legadou, I don't see how they can put up enough points to keep up with this New England offense. I think San Diego's defense is number 2 in the league. But I like New England's offense. I think Deion Branch will look good. He had 9 catches, 7 in the fourth quarter or overtime last week. And Tom Brady looks like he's got the magic back with him. And the Chargers look like a mess.
Well, I think that number 1 overall defense ranking to San Diego is a little inflated. I feel as though they've fallen behind so quickly in most of their games, and they're so good offensively, they spend most of the rest of the game with the ball trying to catch up, which is why they have time of possession lead and have scored a lot of points despite losing a lot of games. And I think something similar might happen in this. I think New England's defense, they really came together the second half of the last game in overtime. They really shut down that Baltimore attack. 4 of the last 5 drives for Baltimore. Overtime, they had 1 first down for maybe 35 yards. It was really impressive. And I fully expect New England to be able to go in there, take care of business, and move on to the next one.
Well, and now you say you don't trust San Diego's defense. How about the Giants going into Dallas to play a big NFC East game? They have the number 2 ranked defense in the league. Do you trust the Giants and the way they're playing right now?
You know, I love the Giants. I love the way they're playing. I expect high things of them. I think you might have been dead on when you said they're going to win this division this year. They're looking more impressive than I thought they would. But this game is death or taxes this week. It's all or nothing for Dallas. They know their season's over. Jerry Jones can't say we're going to make it anymore. Nothing else can possibly happen. Dallas must win this game. I think they're going to have some balance on offense. They'll find a way to run it through passing it. It's the only way they're going to move the ball early. Let's face it, they don't have a running game when they just plug at it to start a game. He's going to have to find other ways, but I think somehow they get the win.
Well, see, I love this Giants pass rush. I think they're going to get after it. I think no Romo. I think the Giants will take it and roll from there. I think they'll take this. I think the Redskins might be in good space for a wild card spot. And I think the Eagles could be right there at the top 2. But I think the Giants are going to head to maybe a 9-7-10-6 record. And I think the Cowboys are in trouble.
And finally winning that. All right, well, that's enough for our picks for this week. But we're going to bring back someone you remember from earlier in the season, our local Fireside Rooster, and see what he thinks this week, along with his updated picks. And hey, I mean, you better watch out, because the Rooster's only 1 game back, man.
The Rooster will not conquer me this season. I will succeed. I'm going to beat Kendall, too. You wait and see.
You got some work to do. 25-11. I mean, I put up some good numbers early on. You're going to have to really do some extra studying. But let's see what we got with the Fireside Rooster.
Kendall.
What do we got?
So cocky.
Well, the first game, we got Pittsburgh going on the road to Miami. Who do you like?
Pittsburgh smells like Pits. No, Miami. Oh my God.
Which one is it? The Steelers or the Dolphins? Rooster,
The Dolphins. The
the
Dolphins.
Dolphins. All right, how about the Redskins going into Chicago to play the Bears?
Redskins.
Going with the Redskins. In
Okay, I guess that makes sense. He almost has red-looking skin. How about Tennessee at home against the Eagles?
The Eagles.
The Eagles, of course, of course.
Yeah,
how about the Vikings? Brett Favre going back to play the Bears.
The Vikings.
He also likes it. He tends to like the Vikings. How about the Chargers, San Diego, playing at home against the Patriots?
San Diego.
San Diego. Ooh.
And last but not least, the New York Giants facing off against the Dallas Cowboys.
Go Cowboys!
All right, so he's got Dallas at home. He's got to win a game. All right, as do I.
Yeah, who's the cocksucker?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. So tune in next week. And I hope you enjoyed the show.